Yo, it's your boy J Best, your boy Jerick, and your boy Real, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 3, episode 51. On today's episode, we're gonna start off with some NFL talk. We're gonna do our Keep 3, Cut 3 NFL edition. Then we're also gonna talk about our most exciting matchups for the upcoming 2025 season. Then we're gonna head over to the NBA, and we're gonna talk about the Mavs getting the number 1 overall pick. And then we're also gonna talk about Jayson Tatum tearing his Achilles, unfortunately. Then we're gonna end this episode with the Nuggets versus the Thunder. That series is tied 2-2. That game is tonight, and we'll tell y'all who we think is going to win the series. But before we get into any of that, let's thank God for waking us up this morning, allowing us to talk about sports, which is something that we love to do. And without him, we would not be here right now. So let's go ahead and let's get straight to the point. Fellas, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. First up, Keep 3, Cut 3 NFL edition. If y'all saw last episode, then you would have seen that we did NFL wide receivers. All right. And once again, these names can be from any era. All right. I'm picking the names, and the fellas are going to let us know who they want to keep and who they want to cut. But they don't see the full list. All they know is the name that I give them, and they're going to use their knowledge to try and get the best possible Keep 3, Cut 3 scenario. All right. I got them last week with little Jordy Nelson pool at the end. All right. But this week, I'm going to tell y'all this. There is no tricks. There is no surprises. So think carefully. All right. First up, Chris Johnson. I'm sorry. This is running backs. My bad. This is running backs, NFL running backs. First up, Chris Johnson, keep or cut.
I love Chris Johnson. Like
I'm saying,
I like that.
CJ2K, he's a dog. That's hard. What you feeling, Real?
CJ 2K, and he was the fastest running back of all time. I'm gonna go keep, but like
I can rock with that. We can keep him. We can keep him.
let's keep.
Okay. Next up, Marshawn Lynch, keep or cut.
Nah, he was very good for his time. But I think when we look at the course of all the running backs, even if we're just going running backs from like the 2000s and 2010s, there's more guys we can get. So yeah, we're gonna cut him.
Okay. Next up, Saquon Barkley, keep or cut.
Keep.
Me, you gonna keep him?
Trust.
All right, we can keep him. I've been good either way because I like that you want to say keep him. But if we were to cut him, just because like we've seen like this one spectacular year, other years he's been hurt and stuff. But I know from the potential that I saw in New York and from this year, I can rock with cut. I can rock with keeping him. So yeah, we can keep him.
Facts. I think he's the most talented running back ever. Like nobody jumps higher than him. Like speed, you know what I'm saying? Juking ability. I think like even in New York, he was looking like a superstar running back. No O line. So we're definitely gonna keep him.
All right. So 3 names in, and we already got 2 keeps and 1 cut. So I might want to think carefully through these last 3. All right. Next up, Adrian Peterson, keep or cut.
Hey, shout out to him. 2012 MVP, one of the only running backs to win MVP.
Exactly. Like, that's a running back MVP, dog.
But we gotta cut him.
Yeah, we got to cut him. We sure got to cut him. That's fine. I'm cool. I'm cool with cutting him because having Chris Johnson and Saquon Barkley, I'm not mad at having them over him. I'm not, me personally. So we're gonna cut him.
All right, 2 names left. We got 2 keeps and 2 cuts, which means these next 2, whichever you say for this next one, the last one got to be the opposite. All right. So next up, we got Derrick Henry, keep or cut.
I say we keep him.
Yeah, I say we keep him too.
I say we keep him. That's Derrick Henry. Like when we really look at Derrick Henry, we need to start looking at him as one of the greats when it comes to running backs. Like his longevity, just man's unstoppable. And we saw he did it in Tennessee, and he's done it in Baltimore. He can continue to do it till he retires. So yeah, we're gonna keep Derrick Henry.
And on top of that, like you said, Jay, I feel like with the 3 we got the perfect running back lineup. You know what I'm saying? Speed, power, and everything in the middle.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we're gonna keep the king. We're gonna keep King Henry.
All right. Last but not least, so y'all decided to keep Chris Johnson, keep Saquon, and keep Derrick Henry. Y'all have cut Marshawn, y'all cut Adrian Peterson, and you also cut LaDainian Tomlinson. All right, so that is your keep 3, cut 3. It's solid. It's not bad.
All right.
Yeah, you had to cut some that you didn't really want to cut because there's 6 really good running backs on this list. So, all right. That's our keep 3, cut 3 NFL edition running backs. We'll do it again on the next episode. All right. But next up, we got our exciting matchups. All right, this is they dropped some of the opponents or matchups for the upcoming 2025 season. They have not dropped the actual schedule yet. All we know is that opening night is going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles. But the fellas are going to let y'all know who they believe is the best matchups, most exciting matchups for this upcoming season. Jared, you up first. Who you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with the Commanders and the Bears. That's what I'm gonna do. We're looking at the first matchup between two rookies. I'm gonna go not two rookies, two second-year guys who are the first and second pick in their draft class. Like I feel like whenever you, especially with them being two quarterbacks in Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams, whenever you have a matchup between two guys that are quarterbacks and their first and second pick, that's always going to be something that we talk about. And we've seen that in history, and we've always talked about that matchup when they first play each other. And maybe it'll be a long time rivalry, especially with them both being in the NFC. But we're looking at two different situations here. Caleb Williams, who went into a promising somewhat situation. You know, they added some pieces for him going into his rookie year. He had such an upside. Everybody thought, he's the next coming Mahomes. Everybody, he's going to be that next generational talent. And he came in and he didn't really live up to the hype. Mostly was because of his offensive line. He didn't really have offensive line. Got sacked so many times. Like it's like as a quarterback, you can't do nothing with the amount of times he got sacked. So his head coach is gone. It was just a bad season. But we saw promising plays and promising games from him. And then you got Jayden Daniels, who was going into a situation where people thought they would have another top 5 draft pick, just because he didn't really go into the situation that was ready to win. Next thing you know, they're in the NFC Championship. So it's two different narratives, but they're both going to be great quarterbacks going down the line. Jayden Daniels come off a phenomenal season. We got to see, can he keep it up? Can he prove that maybe he is the best quarterback in his draft class? And Caleb Williams has to try and fend him off and fight for his title as best quarterback in the draft class and prove why he'll be number one. So that's the matchup I'm excited to see.
All right, Real, who you got?
All right, so I'm gonna go to the NFC, and I got the Lions and I got the Chicago Bears. As you guys know, Ben Johnson, one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL last year, went to Chicago and he went to go pair with Caleb Williams. And like Jerry said, Caleb Williams is supposed to be a superstar quarterback, supposed to be the next Mahomes. But in this new Chicago Bears offense, with Ben Johnson, the sky's is the limit. And we all talk about how stacked this division is. The Bears and the Lions could definitely be the top 2 teams in this division. So the first matchup of the year, I think the Bears and Lions is going to be a whole bunch of points, and it's going to be competing with one of the best offensive games of all time with the Rams and Chiefs back in 2018.
All right, I like both y'all matchups. I'm gonna go with the Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs. All right, I think that for me, for the Jalen Hurts camp, right? Because Jared gave up Jalen Hurts a while ago, and I took over. I'm leading the train now. I am the captain of the ship. All right, and I believe that in order to keep pushing my narrative that Jalen Hurts is the second best QB in the league, he has to go up against Mahomes again this year and beat him in Arrowhead. Right, this game is going to be taking place in Arrowhead, Super Bowl rematch, and head-to-head in the regular season, they're 1-1 against each other, and in playoffs, which is the Super Bowl, they're also 1-1 against each other. So if Jalen Hurts can win this game, and overall has a winning record versus Patrick Mahomes, and that will be more ammunition for me to say that Jay Hurts is the second best quarterback in the league because he can go toe-to-toe with Mahomes, and it's not going to be lopsided. Like you look at Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen gets him in the regular season, but in the playoffs, we all know what happens. Right? Joe Burrow, he got him once in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson struggles against Mahomes head-to-head. So to me, this is going to give Jay Hurts ammunition to go head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes. So that's what I like about this matchup, and that's my most exciting matchup for this upcoming season. So Jared, I want to ask you a question about your matchup. Let's just say Caleb Williams outperforms Jayden Daniels, but still loses. Then will that like what would you say about that if that happens?
I think it'll be I think that this is more so about how each one plays more so than the winner. Because of course we know like winning a game, it takes much more than just a quarterback to win a game. And of course, like their defense is gonna have to go out and get a stop. Which, if we both think that these two-time quarterbacks are as good as they are, it'll be hard to get a stop. But I think that this is one of those games where we don't necessarily have to look at winning. Like for the Jalen Hurts and Mahomes, we kind of have to look at winning because he outdueled him in the first Super Bowl, but he didn't win. Nobody cares. All everybody cares about is who can get the job done when it comes to playing against Mahomes. So I think that this is a separate situation, especially because this is their first matchup, and it's like we don't know if the Bears are going to be as good as we think they can be. Like we don't know if they're going to live up to the hype. So I think that if Caleb Williams just got there, he outperformed Jaden Daniels, that'll start, getting the questions going. Okay, he probably is going to be the best quarterback from that class, as opposed to them losing. I don't think that either person, if either person outperforms the other and loses, we shouldn't talk about the winner. We should be talking about which quarterback played better or how great they both played. So I don't think Caleb Williams losing and outperforming it shouldn't do anything. At least it won't do anything in my eyes.
All right, and then real for yours, I want to ask you. So they played each other twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if because this is the funny thing about it, like Ben Johnson left, the Lions didn't get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? So whatever Ben Johnson does, the Lions can't say, dang, we shouldn't have got rid of Ben or nothing like that. But let's just say in these two matchups, Caleb Williams outperforms Jared Goff by a mile. Then will we start to have question marks about did Ben Johnson create or help elevate Jared Goff's game? Like, would that be the conversation if Caleb Williams outperforms Jared Goff both of those games?
100%. And you say it all the time. You feel like Jared Goff is a product of his environment. You felt like the Detroit Lions were a product of their environment. You felt like they got spoiled with Ben Johnson, and I feel the same way. And I feel like Caleb Williams will have a great year because of Ben Johnson. But yeah, if Caleb Williams goes out there and beats Jared Goff 2 times and outperforms him 100%, it's going to be clear as day that Ben Johnson made Jared Goff. It's going to be clear as day.
Facts, I agree. I like all three matchups. I actually had Jared's matchup before we met up, and we actually talked about what our matchups are going to be, so we wouldn't have the same thing. And I had Jared's, but I love my Eagles and Chiefs matchup. All right, but let's head over to the NBA now, and let's talk about the draft lottery that took place yesterday, and the Mavericks ended up with the number one pick. I don't know about y'all, but this seemed just a little bit sketchy to me. All right, so Tyrell, you up first. What was your reaction to hearing that the Mavs got the number one pick?
Yeah, so it's absolutely crazy to me. This was the highest jump in lottery history. A team jumped 10 spots. It's never been done before. And it's just like mind blowing because the Mavs were in the playoff picture. Like the Mavs were one game from being in the eighth seed, and now they have the number one pick. And the Mavs already said they're not trading the pick. Like they said they intend on taking Cooper Flag, and that's just crazy. That's just crazy. And so now Nico Harrison, like he's not looked at as a bad GM no more, I guess, as from what I've seen on social media. But they got the number one pick, bro. I'm sure everyone's still shell shocked about that. It's shell shocked because Washington fell back to 6, New Orleans fell back to 7, and Charlotte fell back to 5. And those teams actually needed a Cooper Flag. They actually needed a good player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay, you up?
That is actually like that's one of the points I want to talk about. This lottery system, I'm not rocking with it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it makes it exciting for you to see, like as opposed to the NFL draft based off a record. Yeah, it's exciting for you to see, because you don't know who the number one pick is gonna be. Or at least what team's gonna be the number one pick. Like we pretty much every single draft, we know who's gonna be the number one pick for the most part. You just don't know where they're going yet. For example, we knew where Cam Ward was going once the season was over. So now we knew Cooper Flag was the number one pick, but we did not know where he was going till last night. So that kept people on the edge of their seat, had people tuned in to the lottery. But like you said, we got Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans. These are all teams that needed that Cooper Flag type guy. They needed that Dylan Harper type guy. And they can't get them now. And this is kind of where like we see some teams stay bad for such a long time because they can't get that generational talent. They can't get that all-star that's waiting in the draft. because they're 6th, 7th, 8th overall pick when they had the worst record in the league the past season. So I think something needs to change. I think maybe the odds need to. I don't know. Something's got to give. Just me personally, but I want y'all to listen to this. So I was scrolling on Instagram, and this is what I saw. In 2011, LeBron signed with the Heat, leaving Cleveland. The very next draft lottery, the Cleveland Cavaliers drew the number 1 pick. They had a 2.8% chance of getting it. That is one of the 4th lowest odds to getting the first pick and receiving the first pick. 2013, 2011, in 2011, Chris Paul traded to the Clippers from the New Orleans Pelicans / New Orleans Hornets, and they received the first pick in the draft. Same thing with Anthony Davis gets traded to the Lakers, and guess who gets the first pick? The New Orleans Pelicans. And now Luka Doncic gets traded from the Dallas Mavericks, and now the Mavericks win the lottery. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna throw anything out there. I'm just, y'all do with that information as y'all must. Seems a little shady to me, but hey, hey, great writing, Adam. Great writing. But no, more so on this pick and what this means for Dallas. Dallas can go about this many ways. Me personally, I just take Cooper Flag. But they can trade for Giannis, which I would not be mad at. Trading for Giannis, I wouldn't be mad at it because, it makes your team ready right now. Mind you, you have an older Kyrie who's coming off an injury. We don't know how special he's going to be coming off an injury. He'll be good. He'll give you production because it's Kyrie Irving. But coming off of an injury like that at his age, we don't know if that'll take some wear and tear on his game. Anthony Davis, not really reliable. We know he gets hurt a lot. We know he's a little bit older. So I think if they want to win a ring right now, your more guaranteed option is to trade this first pick for Giannis. I think that'll give you, right now, we're going to win. Or get Cooper Flag. I think Cooper Flag's a nice fit. I honestly do. He's a scoring wing. He can play guard. He can do it all, basically. He can defend. He'll rebound. He does it all. He's an all-around type player, and that's kind of what they're missing right now. He can facilitate. He can shoot. He can get to his spots. He plays great defense. He's one of the highest-rated defenders in college basketball, if not number 1. And then, mind you, he's also rebounding very well. So, he's the type of guy who'll have immediate impact. That's how special this kid is. But the question goes, is he special enough for the next couple of years while this whole entire machine is together? Is he good enough to get us to where we need to be, get us to the championship? So that's what Nico Harrison has to ask himself right now. So if they do trade this pick for Giannis, I won't be mad at all, and Dallas fans shouldn't be mad at all. Because honestly, if they trade this pick for Giannis, there's no reason why they shouldn't go and win if nobody gets hurt on the team. Because mind you, before Anthony Davis and Kyrie got hurt, they were looking pretty well. That very first game Anthony Davis played, they were looking pretty well. So it's just a factor of health. Do you want to win right now, or are you going to give Coop 2 years to start reaching that hopefully all-star potential if he'll be on that fast of a track to get y'all to the finals and then still have something for the future? As we know, of course, Cooper Flag is younger than Giannis, but Giannis isn't that old, honestly, and his game doesn't take much for him to do. He's holding down R2 and holding down X. So it just depends on which way they want to go. But Nico, you cannot mess this up. Congratulations, you saved yourself. You cannot mess this up. Only way you can mess this up is if you trade it and then you go and get somebody I don't even know, you traded for a De'Aaron Fox or something like that. That's the only way you can mess this up. So great job, Nico Harrison. You saved your life. Honestly, probably got no more death threats in Dallas. Dallas probably threw you a parade this morning. But, so very interesting what they're going to do with this pick. I can't wait to see it.
All right, so a couple of things I want to address about what Jarek said. First of all, do you think that the number 1 pick alone can get Giannis?
I think number 1 pick in Daniel Gafford gets it. Because I think Milwaukee's gonna have to move on from Brook Lopez very, very soon.
Yeah, he a free agent this upcoming off season.
So hey, give me that, or give me PJ Washington in the first overall pick.
maybe I'm going too far, but I swear, whenever when Rel was talking, it just popped up in my head. They can trade this pick for Giannis, and I was thinking first pick and Anthony Davis. That's what I was thinking. Now, Is that too much? Like, do you think the Mavs are giving up too much for Giannis, or do you think that's a good trade?
I think the Mavs would be giving up too much for Giannis, but that would be Giannis's trade value. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm thinking. Yeah,
That's
Like
definitely his value.
like it wouldn't be Daniel Gafford in that first pick. It would be more than that. It would be more.
and I feel like getting AD off your hands is not a like Jerry said, availability, right? AD is not always available. So me trading away AD is not necessarily hurting me that bad, especially when I'm getting a Giannis in return. So I feel like that's something that they can explore is trading Cooper Flag basically
But
and AD for Giannis.
is the team around them good enough for Giannis? And we don't, like I said, we don't know how Kyrie's gonna be when he gets back.
Yeah.
Is the rest of the team still good enough for Giannis to get them there?
That's the only thing that makes this tricky is Kyrie's injury. Like if Kyrie was healthy, I would pull the trigger, no doubt about it. But because he gonna miss time, you're right. Are they good enough to stay afloat? But I would think so. I don't think this team without Kyrie is any worse than the Bucks without Dame. Like, I feel like you're kind of in the same boat, right? If you look at both teams without their guards, like I feel like because without Dame, the Bucks we saw it in the playoffs, they were terrible, right? And without Kyrie, we saw it with the Dallas Mavericks, even though they were still hurt with Derek Lively and Dale Gafford. Without Kyrie, they really couldn't compete either. So to me, you're in the same boat. But yeah, that Kyrie injury makes it tricky. But for this whole draft lottery, like Jerry said, I don't like it. Me and Real talk about it all the time, and Real brings up a great point that the lottery prevents tanking. Okay, you can't really tank and be guaranteed the number one pick. I mean, look at this draft for crying out loud. Like the Pelicans were terrible, right? The Nets were terrible. They were bad. Let's just say they did tank and they didn't even get the number one pick. So this does prevent tanking. But at the end of the day, if you want teams to be like, look at the NFL. For the most part, the NFL is it's not even, but it's very competitive. Like there's not a lot of games on the schedule where you look at it, you like, oh, we're gonna win today. I ain't gotta watch the game. That's not gonna happen, right? It's a lot of teams that can compete in the NFL. That's because they've been bad. They was able to get these really good picks, and now they're competing. I mean, it's not a bad example, but look at the Commanders, right? They were the second worst team in all of football a year ago. And now this past year, they was in the NFC Championship because they was able to get their hands on a guy like Jaden Daniels, right? They didn't let a lottery determine who they get. It was, okay, you're the second worst team. You should probably get the second best player in the draft, theoretically speaking, right? Look at the Texans, right? The Texans went and got C.J. Stroud early. They was able to get Will Anderson. They traded up for Will, but they was able to get C.J. Stroud early, and look at them. That year, they was in the playoffs, and they actually won a playoff game with a rookie C.J. Stroud. So I understand it's different between the NFL and the NBA. I think NFL players translate quicker than NBA players, especially when it comes to winning games. But I think that you should go ahead and say, look, if you got the worst record, you should get the first pick. I think it's only fair. Like Cooper Flag going to Dallas, like Real said, but it was just a game out the playoffs, 2 games out the playoffs, right? And they have Anthony Davis, they have Kyrie Irving, they have a team that was just in the championship a year ago. Right. So to me, it's crazy that they was able to get it. Jerry can make some great points. I do think that's a little fishy. How is all these teams that's losing a star player ended up getting the first pick? 1.8% chance. And y'all got the first pick. Like that's a little come on now. Like I love defending the NFL and the NBA because a lot of people would say it's rigged in a heartbeat, right? And I want to defend it because if it is rigged, what's the point of watching it? But in this situation, I can't defend it. Like there's evidence that if teams lose a star, they're going to get the number one pick. Like that's crazy to me. But Jared, Nico Harrison thing, I'm still not letting him off the hook. I could care less. He didn't do anything to deserve his number one pick. Yes, they ended up losing games down the stretch, but he still had a 1.8% chance of getting it. So this is not Nico Harrison doing. So I'm not gonna give Nico any credit for trading away Luka Doncic. Like that's still unforgivable to me, especially if you don't get to the finals in the next 2-3 years. Like I'm still gonna look back and say you're an idiot for trading away Luka Doncic. All right, but yeah, the Mavs number one pick. It looks very sketchy. I think we all agree on that, and I think we all addressed this topic very well. But all right, real quick, I want to give y'all my NBA playoffs update. Just gonna call out the series right now. Right now we're looking at the OKC Thunder and the Nuggets, who we're gonna talk about in a little bit. They're tied 2-2 right now, heading into Game 5 that takes place tonight. And then with the Cavs and the Pacers, right now the Pacers are up 3-1, but I believe the Cavs are winning as of right now. Right now we're doing this episode, and it's Game 5 right now, and they're up right now. So this could go to 6, maybe go to 7. All right, and looking over in the other team in the West, the Warriors and the Timberwolves. The Warriors went down 3-1, but they're now 1-3 without Steph Curry. So when Steph went down, I think we all knew how the series was going to go. And then the other teams in the East is the Knicks and Boston. The Knicks are up 3-1, surprisingly, against the defending champs, and that's going to take us to our next topic, which is Jayson Tatum. All right, who tore his Achilles yesterday in the game in the fourth quarter. I believe it was down 9 when this happened. The Knicks had came back and took over. Momentum was on the Knicks side, but then Tatum ended up throwing a pass. It became a loose ball. Trying to go after the loose ball, he tore his Achilles. So Jared, this is your guy, so I want you to go first. How do you feel about this whole situation?
You know, first of all, I like to say, just to put on public record, I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. The Boston Celtics are going to repeat this year, and it's not because Jayson Tatum got hurt. It's because the New York Knicks play like the better team and the smarter team this series. But to the injury, it sucks. It's crushing, and it's not only crushing for Tatum fans, but it's crushing for Boston, honestly, because there's been a lot of rumors and questions as to where the future of the Celtics organization will be, because they have a lot of people that want to get paid. They have valuable assets on that team, and there's been questions as to, are they going to make some trades to kind of break it up a little bit. So this was your last chance with this certified certain group of guys to try and go and repeat. But it sucked to see, honestly, because in that fourth quarter, Tatum was the only guy really trying to. It looked like he was the only guy trying to win, honestly. Jaylen Brown, second half, he disappeared. We just got to be honest, like, he disappeared in the second half, and so the Finals MVP, but this is another topic for a different day. He disappeared in the second half. Derek White, Jayson Tatum, they had great games. Derek White kind of wasn't really getting it going in the second half, also the fourth quarter. But Jayson Tatum, he was trying to will his team. He had 42 points. Boards, steals, assists. He was doing it all, and then he gets hurt, and it's just like, it's not unfortunate for this series because they were gonna lose that game probably. You're down 9 after that pass, down 9 with 3 minutes left, so you're gonna lose. So once you lose that game, series is over. You're down 3-1. Series is over. But it sucks for the future because we don't know where he'll be next season. We don't know if he'll be good. We don't know if he'll come back towards the end of next season. We have no clue. Like, there's so many question marks in the air. Like I said, we don't know the future of this team in terms of, is Porzingis still going to be here? Derek White, guys like that. Like, we don't know what will happen with this team. So it sucks for Boston, honestly. But, he will be back. He's young. He's only 27 years old. So let's just say he does miss next year. He'll be 28, going on 29 when he comes back. Players' prime start when they get into their late 20s. So I think that he will be back. I don't think this injury will stop him. We've seen Kevin Durant at an older age come back from this injury. And he came back hooping to where we were acting like it's almost like he didn't even get hurt. Couldn't even tell. Damian Lillard just underwent the same thing. And I'm pretty sure Damian Lillard's going to come back strong, healthy, confident. This is common in sports. It's happened before, and people have come back. It's a little different, but it'll be fine. Like, if you ever watch, if y'all watch football, Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl tore his Achilles, came back. Now he's playing on the field. So this is definitely something he'll be back from, and he'll be back as the same Tatum, I'm certain of. But it just sucks because this is a guy we've seen consistently play since 2017. He's played in the most games. Like, he doesn't really take breaks off. He doesn't take nights off because of resting. He doesn't really do that. Like, if he's on the bench 9 out of 10, it's because of the injury. So, just get well. That's all I can say. Gonna miss seeing him play next season. But, hey, memorable performance before going out. So, prayers up to Jayson Tatum, man.
Prayers up, man. Prayers up. Real you up.
Yeah, like they said, man. Prayers up to Jayson Tatum. He had a great game. Can't really say great series, but he had a great game that game. It's unfortunate. It was just a bad step, a step that anybody could take. It's so scary, man. Really, just prayers up to him. But like Jerry said, Jaylen Brown, he was invisible in the second half, and they can't have that. The Boston Celtics paid you $300 million. You were the Finals MVP. You said you were supposed to be on Team USA. It's time to show you that guy. Y'all are down 3-1. It doesn't matter. And you can still got a championship team. You got the highest payroll in the NBA. You guys are been over the luxury tax the past 2 years. And like Jarek said, it's not going to get any easier. Like, this might be the last run you guys had. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are both on the books for $60 million next year. Drew Holiday at $32 million. Kristaps Porzingis at $30 million. They really don't know what they're going to do with Porzingis. And then Derek White at $28 million. Those are some pretty crazy numbers, especially paying a guy $60 million that's not going to be playing next year. And we all know the level of player that Jayson Tatum is. He's a top 5 player. Achilles injuries are the scariest injuries in basketball, scariest injuries in sports. God forbid, but there's a chance Jayson Tatum doesn't come back that same player, like as a top 5 player that he was before. But there is a really good chance that he comes back and he becomes KD. Like, he comes back on that same level. I'm hoping for the best. I love Jayson Tatum. I think he's a great player. But to end up what I'm saying, prayers up for Jayson Tatum. But Celtics were going home. They were down 3-1, going down 11 points before he got hurt.
Yeah, 100%. Let's just make this clear. I think we've all addressed it, but I want to make it clear again that this injury did not is not the reason why they lost the series. All right, the Knicks, bro, they got hot. Mikal Bridges, he hit like back to back mid range jumpers, and there was nothing that they could do about it. Derek White could not hold Jalen Brunson. Brunson was giving him work, like it was bad. And then I look at Missoula, and I'm like, okay, why isn't Drew Holiday in the game? Jarek even called it out. Where is Drew Holiday? Put him in the game to be on Jalen Brunson. So that's another knock towards Joe Missoula. But yeah, it's unfortunate, right? It's crazy how I'm sure Jarek thought at least that this was gonna be a dynasty. Like he thought this was gonna become okay. They about to start just running the table for the next couple of years because how good their team is. And Jarek had a point. Like their team was stacked. Like don't get it twisted. But it's crazy how one little injury can ruin everything. Because now, let's just say they did lose the series. I think going into next year, Tatum was fully healthy. Going into next year, also depending on the moves they make, Jared would have probably came up here and said they're still the best team in basketball. Last year against the Knicks was a mishap. They going back to the championship, right? And I think we wouldn't like knock them for it because of how good their team is. But now that Achilles tear happened, we're Jason Tatum probably out for the rest of the next season. Right. So next season we don't know how this team gonna look. And then with the Porzingis situation, right? The money, he gotta go somewhere. Drew Holiday might get let go. So it's crazy how one injury can change our view of a team for the next couple of years. So we don't know what's gonna happen. Will Tatum come back the same? Right? What will they get in return for Porzingis? What will they get in return for Drew Holiday? Like, how is this team gonna look over the next couple of years for Tatum to be able to come back? And when Tatum first come back, I don't think he's gonna be the same. It's gonna take him a little bit. So, like, this is a whole question mark now for this team. But if you look at all the past champions, right, starting from the Lakers to I believe the next year was the Bucks, I want to say. And then the next year was the y'all help me out.
Warriors.
Warriors, then the Nuggets. Now I think every team except for the Warriors, we all figured that they was going to running back the next year. Like I think it was just point blank simple that we thought that team was good enough to running back the next year, and it's never happened. Like winning back to back, Jared, you said it too late. Like Jared, you said it. You said it when it was over. Jared, we was doing a live on TikTok, and Jared ended up saying, "Man, it's hard to go back to back." Yeah, it's hard to go back to back. But Jared was certain that he was going to do it. And it deservedly so. I mean, that's how good the team was. Like Real having technical issues, but he'll be back. Um, but yeah, like it's hard to run it back. And Jared believed they was going back, deservedly so. They're the stacked. But this one injury ruined it. And this is going back to my saying, one of my most famous sayings. turn the injuries off. For those of y'all that play Madden, for those of y'all that play 2K, you know that there's an option for you to turn injuries off, right? So you got to deal with no injuries. That's what I want to see for one full year, the NFL and the NBA, with no injuries, right? Because injuries change everything. Now, this injury didn't change this series, but it definitely changed their outlook for next year. Like next year, I don't think we're looking at the Celtics as a champion next year. With just Jaylen Brown and not knowing what Porzingis gonna do, not knowing if Al Horford gonna retire, not knowing what Drew Holiday gonna do. Like, I don't think, Jared, I don't think you're looking at this team like, okay, they're about to go be in championship talks next year.
I don't. I look at this team like it's just almost like the Lakers coming off of their ring. Definitely thought the Lakers were going to go back to back, and
Yeah.
they didn't. The Lakers, the team, they decided to implode the team. People like KCP didn't come back. Their big men didn't come back. The important pieces to that team. So I think that it'll be the same situation, but also your star's not here. Star's not here. Is that the year LeBron got hurt?
The
He was
very
playing
next
great
year,
that whole season, then got hurt.
he got hurt. I think he got hurt in the playoffs. I remember Solomon Hill ran to his ankle.
Solomon Hill.
Was it in the playoffs or was it in the season? I think it was the
I
playoffs.
want to say it was like towards the end of the season. I
It
don't
was the
know,
end of the
but
season.
it was that year though, right?
Yeah, it was that
So
year.
it's almost something like that. And once he got hurt, we knew the Lakers weren't going anywhere. So I think it's the same thing. And yeah, the team like it's definitely going to change like the dynamic of the East because now
Oh
it's
yeah.
open. It's
Oh yeah.
open. Yeah. I mean, we see the Cavs; they're not ready to take over the mantle. So it's open. It's open for teams, like especially young teams. Like I'm not gonna lie, from Orlando, I'm making some moves, and I'm gonna try to get my team right because the Celtics are out of it. Because we see the Cavs have some weaknesses on the team. So this definitely opens up the East, and I think that this might make the East a little more competitive because we're uncertain of who's going to win it next year. We just knew it was going to be Cleveland and Boston in the conference final. It didn't even happen this year, which is a shocker because, of course, I think Cleveland's going to lose the series, and then of course Boston is going to lose to the Knicks. It didn't even happen this year, but now next year it's definitely wide open. So hey,
Yeah,
who
so
wants it?
real quick question. Now that the Celtics are probably out of it for next year, right? They without Tatum, I don't think Jaylen Brown can single handedly carry this team to a championship. I mean, look at how he's been playing lately. Who do you think going into next year, like, is thinking that they legit can win the East? Like, they really can get there because Boston is not going to be a problem.
It's got to be one team, sir.
It can be a couple. It can be a couple. Like Jerry said, for example, the Magic needs to make a move to get better, and they can be in that contention to win the East. So let me know who you think could be in contention to win the East next year.
Yeah, sir. So I got the Magic 100%. You know, they got a young superstar, Paolo Banchero, who I feel like is growing into a superstar 100%. Um, Coming off his second All Star appearance, uh, they also weren't healthy this year. They took Boston to a close game every single game, and they didn't have Jalen Suggs, and they didn't have the other Wagner brother. We all know how important role players are. We all know how important defense is. Jalen Suggs was their best defender, and he was coming off his best career year. I think the Magic, 100%, like you said, at best, gotta buy stock into them. They
Mhm.
competing with the reigning NBA champions, and on top of that, Franz and Banchero, they didn't really get a chance to get in rhythm all season. So I definitely think the Magic have a really good chance of shooting being a shooting star in the East. I think they could have the same trajectory that OKC had, and I think their superstars can be Paola and Wagner and Suggs, just like OKC has Chet, Jalen Williams, and Shea. Another team I think is the New York Knicks. I think the New York Knicks, like I said at the beginning of the season, before they went 0-16 against all the good NBA teams, I
Yeah.
think the Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby trade was big. Like them having those big wings was really, really big, and them finally having a big man was really big. So I think, like Jarek said, the East is wide open. Anybody can have it. I think the Knicks are definitely going to be one of the ones in the running, and I think the Magic will definitely be one in the running.
If and only if Joel could be healthy, I would be looking at the 76ers as a team that okay, we can do it this year because Boston not here. If Joel could be healthy, but it's not. I mean, it's not probably not going to happen. So that's a team that I can't say. But I'm looking at teams like y'all said, these young teams like the Pistons. If the Pistons make a move and try to get a nice little star to go beside Cade, like that's a scary team. That's a team that I think can run the table. The Pacers, who back-to-back years, like they're probably gonna win this series, had been in the Eastern Conference Championship. They're probably thinking, okay, we can definitely get over the hump because Boston's out. All right, let's see what they do in the next round versus the Knicks. But they might lose Miles Turner, maybe. But I do want to go to the Giannis conversation for a second. Now, both of y'all know the West is stacked, right? The West is deep. The West is like a bloodbath. If I'm Giannis, why would I want to go out west when Tatum just went down in the East? Because now I think you can't make an argument for who's the best player in the East right now. Like take Joel out the picture because he doesn't play enough. I think it's Giannis, like by a little bit. Right?
Who's so you're saying maybe he should question if he should leave?
No, 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 no. I think Giannis has a say so on where he goes.
I think so too. Maybe
So
we talked about Giannis has places that he doesn't mind going
boom, I want to stay in the East if I'm Giannis.
and go
Just be,
where?
just because of that's the thing though. Where can he go?
Because what team in the East adding Giannis is going to? Because mind you, you have to trade for him. And if you're
Yes,
trading for Giannis, like I've heard San Antonio, I've heard Houston, and then of course Dallas now. Dallas has the number one pick and some other players to maybe offer. Houston has young players to offer and some draft capital from themselves and other teams in three-team trade. San Antonio the same way. What do these and mind you, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, they'll still be championship ready. What team in the East can give up? You have to give up a lot for Giannis and still be championship ready, or will it just be another Milwaukee situation? I think he needs to. I think coming out west to one of those three teams would be the best situation. So I think he's gonna have to be gone regardless.
the best situation for that's what I'm saying. Like him going to the West, he has to compete with these Western Conference teams.
But
We
he
just said the East,
can.
no,
I feel like he can. Like
he can.
he showed this past series that like he could like he's that guy. We don't like the way he plays, but he's that guy. He'll go get it done, no matter who he's playing against. And I feel like you just add the right squad around him, he'll go get it done once again, no matter who he's playing against.
All right, I got a hot take. Y'all ready?
Me too. Right after your hot take.
All right, Philly got the third pick.
I have a take about this too. Let me hear it.
What if now y'all know how I feel about Joel? I don't think he's a good trade asset because how can a team invest in Joel knowing that he can't stay on the court? So if I'm Philly, what if I give you Maxi in the third pick? Would you give me Giannis? Now, mind you, I know the contracts got to match up and all that stuff, but can I give you Maxi, the third pick, even some more picks, and try to pair Giannis with Joel and see if it works? Or is it not in Giannis' eyes, right? I'm going to play with a player that doesn't is not really available, right? But when he is available, Lord have mercy. Who wants to deal with Joel and Giannis?
But
Right.
that's the question. Will he be available? Because mind you, when you take out, let's just say he gets hurt, you have no Tyrese. Now you're looking at Jerry McCain, Giannis, and Paul George.
Yeah.
That's not enough to do nothing. That's not like that's not gonna get the job done.
Yep.
Honestly, that's kind of like
The situation he in
Milwaukee
now.
situation. Giannis, Dame, and Brook Lopez. Like that's the same type of vibes. I feel like they can't. Like that's not gonna help. It's not.
All right, real, what y'all take?
That was good. Like if I was the Sixers, I'd accept it for both sides. Tyrese Maxey is a superstar, but
Yeah.
this hot take I have, and shout out to ESPN for giving me this hot take. It was 5 trade packages for Giannis, and one of them was Giannis to the Cavaliers. And we talked about how that Cavaliers team needs to make a change, right? They need to break that core up, and this trade package actually broke that core up. And it was Darius Garland on the trade block, who, if we all think Cleveland's going to move on from somebody, it would be Darius Garland, right?
Yeah.
I think Darius Garland be the first person out the door too. So I think Darius Garland for Giannis Antetokounmpo and a whole bunch of draft capital. On top of that, Jared Allen. I think both teams accept it. And I think Milwaukee, they're thinking about it as Dame's going to miss all of next year. We're probably
Yeah,
going to be hurt. We don't control our first round pick until 2031. We need draft capital, and we're getting a really good star in Darius Garland, 2-time All Star. And who knows, he might be even better than that because we've really only seen him with Donovan Mitchell be a two guard, sometimes one guard.
yeah. Hey, I don't. Hey, Cleveland. If I'm
That,
Cleveland, if
that's
I could,
not
go ahead.
that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
I can see that, but like you said, I think that the first trade that you proposed, I wouldn't necessarily accept it if I'm Philly. If I'm Milwaukee, I'm all behind it. You get young Tyrese, you get the third pick in the draft and more draft capital to build on your future. Because mind Milwaukee's a team that has no future when it comes to
at
draft
all,
picks.
at
They
all.
don't
Yeah,
own their own. The picks that they do own are from other teams, and those teams are going to be good. Like it's just not. It's not. It's not going to be good enough. So I think that Milwaukee side is definitely great. But from Philly side, it's not so great. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all. If I'm Philly, like this is off the topic of Giannis. You have the third pick. You have Tyrese. We saw Jared McCain be promising. Do we move on from Joel Embiid and then just get somebody that's worth it, or players that's worth it, and then with your third pick, draft hope who is going to become a guy? I think honestly, you can't go wrong with the first three draft picks. We know Cooper Fire is going to be number one, two, three. Whether it's Ace Bailey, whether it's Dylan Harper, you can't go wrong. Do you move on from Joel Embiid and then bring in your draft pick and the players that you're going to get in return for Joel?
and once again, this goes. This is why this whole conversation is tricky because who wants Joel? Like, I'll make that call. Who wants Joel? That's the first problem, right? And once you find teams that want Joel, now the second problem is how much do you think he's worth? Because teams are probably looking at Joel like, bro, I'll take Joel off your hands, but I'm not finna give you an arm and a leg for somebody that's probably not gonna play. Like we just trying to, we banking on Joel. We putting our cards in on Joel. We're not gonna put all our cards in because Joel is not available. So I see what you're saying, right? I would try to move on from Paul George if I can, but Paul George and Joel, what is their value at right now? Who wants to get those players? And if they do want them, how much would they be willing to give up? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole conversation is tricky, but
Be an interesting summer.
it is. But if I'm Giannis, me personally, I don't think nobody gonna say he ducking smoke. I don't think so. But if he stays in the East, he has a huge chance of getting to the championship next year, especially depending on where he goes. If him and a healthy Joel could team up, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't see who would beat that team. To be honest with you. Like that, if Joel could be healthy. But we'll talk about this more, of course, moving forward. But let's go ahead and let's move on to our last topic of the day. Thunder Nuggets series is tied 2-2. It's been everything we wanted it to be, right? Ain't no 3-1, right? It's nothing like that. It's 2-2. And the winner of tonight's game in game five, Real said it. It's a big game, must win game. Whoever wins tonight in game five has a big chance of winning this series. Real, these your boys. You up first. Of course, you had the Thunder win this series, but talk about game five tonight.
Yeah, game five is everything. It's really the tone setter because everybody thinks the series is going to seven, but it's really like whoever wins this game is like, oh man, we're just one more game and we win. Whoever loses this game is like, oh my gosh, we're going home. So it's a really, really big game. It's also this game shows who's gonna win game seven if it does go to game seven because it's in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has home court advantage. It's a really, really big game. Gigantic game. It's 2-2. The season series for both of these teams is 4-4. That's how close it's been. But I think the Thunder will still pull away. I always said Thunder in six. I gave my respect to Jokic, but I think the Thunder being too deep is going to be too much for the Nuggets. If you look out of 11 playoff games, Jokic has played 40 plus minutes in seven of them, and Jamal Murray has played 40 plus minutes in eight out of them. 8 out of 11. So that's a lot of games. That's a lot of minutes, and I think their body's weighing on them. So I think the Thunder definitely still get it done in six.
All right, so tonight you got the Thunder winning.
Yes, sir. Gigantic, huge game 5. Mandatory must win.
All right, Jared, who you got
I got the Nuggets. I got the
tonight?
Nuggets win. Yeah, I got the Nuggets winning game 5, and I have the Nuggets winning game 6 as well. But more so on tonight. Um, I smell a big game from Jamal Murray coming up. He hasn't been very consistent, really, this whole entire playoffs. He showed spurts in the Clipper series. Hasn't really been, very playoff Jamal Murray. Like he hasn't been trash. I'm not gonna say that he has been bad. But he hasn't been like playoff Jamal like we're used to seeing. So I think that in this is like Real said, this is a must-win game. Like this really determines honestly who can win this series because if OKC wins tonight, I'm not gonna lie, like they're gonna win the series just off the fact that if you don't win in 6, you still have game 7. And winning tonight will prove that at home gonna get the job done and that game 1 was just, it was a big catastrophe at the end of the game. But it will prove that you can win at home. So game 7 you'll definitely win at home. But if Denver can win tonight, I think that'll kind of deflate OKC a little bit, knowing they have to go back to Denver, and then the Denver series will be over in 6. But bro, like you said, how many minutes their stars have been playing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I see what you're saying. Yes, it's going to be a problem, but this is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. They've been here before. They've had to do this before. That finals run, they was in the game. They was not getting taken out. Like they knew that they would have to do this, so this is nothing new to them. They've been here before. They've had to go through tough series of playing a lot of minutes to get to this point. So I think that, especially them knowing that this is that must-win game, they can be tired all they want to, but it's not going to affect them. It's not going to weigh on them. They're going to push past it. They're going to push through it because they also have the experience enough to know how to do it. Not only that, Aaron Gordon, he's been playing his butt off. And I think that he will have another solid night tonight where he makes winning plays that are going to contribute to the outcome. Nikola Jokic, I'm not going to lie. Other than scoring, you're playing great. But you got to step it up a little bit when it comes to scoring. You honestly do. And this isn't so much for the fact of who's like the better player coming out of this series between him and Shea, because Shea hasn't been playing all too great either. But this is so that your team can get the win. So I think that either Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray's gonna have a big night, and then Aaron Gordon's gonna contribute heavily, and those other teammates are gonna chip in and they're gonna play winning basketball. They have the experience. They know what it takes, what it needs to be done. And we've seen it time and time again. Like we saw it in game 1. They stayed in until the end and they ended up pulling out a win. We saw it in game 3. It was close. Game 3 went to overtime. In overtime, they just ran away with it. They knew what it took to win. So I think that this is just going to be one of those experience type moments. And I think that the Nuggets are going to go ahead and get the win on the road in a tough OKC.
Yeah, so I joked on the episode before last, I believe. No, last episode I joked and I said Nuggets in 5, right? I was joking. Then I said when you left, Braille, I said Nuggets in 6 or 7. I think I'm going to get Nuggets in 7. That's what I'm going to do. I think that Jokic, Jared is talking about a big game from Jamal. I'm expecting a big game from Jokic because we haven't seen it over the past 2 games. Both games at home, he had 20 points in game 3 and 27 points in game 4, but he shot 8 for 25 in game 3. He shot 7 for 22 in game 4. Like that's not efficient at all, right? You're missing way too many shots, and that's hurting your team. And then the rebound column, he's been in double digits both games, 16 and 13. But the assist column is, I think, where the problem kind of lies. His scoring efficiency and his assists, because he only had 6 assists in game 3 and 3 assists in game 4. We know that Jokic can distribute the ball. I think his teammates not hitting shots or he's not looking to pass. It's either one or the other. But I think he needs to definitely fix that area because when he does do well in the assist column, the team does well in general. So I'm expecting a big game from Jokic. Like Jay said, a Jamal Murray game is brewing also. I think that would be more so game 7. But I'm thinking that Jokic has to bring it, right? This is huge. Because if I'm looking at the other side, I'm watching the Timberwolves. I ain't been that impressed with the Timberwolves this series. Now granted, they're playing a underman Warriors team without Steph. But even watching them play, I'm not that excited about what I'm seeing from the Timberwolves. So I think whoever wins this series has a huge chance to get to the championship. And Jokic got to be thinking, this can be to me, one of the best finals runs I've ever seen. Y'all, Jokic don't have a coach. like I think people are really undervaluing that. Like that matters. That coaching really does matter in the NBA. Now it doesn't matter as much as having a good team. You can have a stacked team and be a good coach, I guess, because you're winning. Joe Mazzulla. But I think that teams need a I think teams need a good coach, and the Nuggets really don't have one. I'm seeing Russell Westbrook sit in the coaching chair, right, talking to the team. I'm seeing Jokic take over timeouts and talking to the team. Like they don't have a coach. And to me, the coach for what it's worth, he's doing a solid job. Like he's not losing them games. So I think that if he makes this run without a coach and he beats the number one seed Thunder, he beat a team in the Clippers that people thought could make a run this year, which I don't know why. But then he go and beat Anthony Edwards, who just eliminated Luka and LeBron, and Steph and Jimmy for what it's worth. This can be a very good finals run. And I think that whoever comes out the East cannot beat this Nuggets team, whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers. So you got to be thinking, like Roy said the other night, OKC has a huge chance of winning championship if they can get past the series. Because the finals not going to be that competitive to me. And then the next round, either team has a chance against Timberwolves. So whoever wins this series is probably going to win a championship. I hate to say it, but they're probably going to win a championship. But I'm going with the Nuggets. Jared thinks the Timberwolves can beat either one of these teams, but I'm going with the Nuggets to win this in 7. I think the Nuggets can win tonight. The Thunder gonna win this game 6, and then the Nuggets gonna win in game 7. That's how I think this is going to go.
So you got the away teams winning.
I got the away teams winning. Yes, I think that's how it's gonna go because both teams have proven they can win on the other team's court, right? So I think that that's gonna play a big role going down these last 3 games, and that's what I got. All right, but that is it from the Straight to the Point podcast. Y'all gotta make sure y'all check me out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok. You see at the bottom of the screen. Also check out Tyrell's Twitch at Young Real Streams. Y'all check that out. If you're on TikTok, y'all know we go live almost every single night for the NBA playoff games. We about to go live for the Nuggets and the Thunder tonight. All right, but that's it from your boy J Best, your boy Real, and your boy Jared. Y'all stay blessed. Much love. We out.